So just in respect of the, thanks, Tanya. There's some questions there which Rachel will respond to.
Welcome everyone to this meeting of the Pyrenees Shire Council. Councillors will today deliberate and decide on a range of matters relevant to the work of council in its communities for the welfare of the people of the Pyrenees Shire. As meeting chair, I give my consent for this ordinary council meeting to be streamed live, recorded and published online. Anyone who is invited to read out a question or make a submission will be recorded, and their voice, image and comments will form part of that live stream and recording. The chair and or the CEO has the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed appropriate, and that may include where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory or potentially inappropriate to be published. The live stream will stop prior to the closed section of the meeting and will recommence for the conclusion of the meeting. The public is able to view this live stream via our website at www.pyrenees.vic.gov.au. Should technical issues prevent the continuation of the live stream, the meeting will continue as long as a quorum can be maintained, and where possible, a recording of the meeting will be published on Council's website. Where a quorum cannot be maintained, the meeting will be adjourned until the issue is resolved or the meeting postponed to another time and date in accordance with Council's governance rules. I'll now move on to our acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the people, past and present, of the Wadawurrung, Dja Dja Wurrung, Eastern Ma, Wotjobaluk, Jadwa, Jawadwa, Wurgara and Jabbergalt nations, whose lands and waters the Pyrenees Shire operates on. We pay our respects to their ancestors and elders and recognise and respect their customs, stewardship and continuing connection to country. Moving on to apologies, we do have an apology for Mr. Doug Gowans, but we do have Miss Rachel Bramwell that's taken on that. Rachel. I'm just Blackwell. Got that wrong. But thank you, Rachel, for filling in for Doug this evening. And we also, again, we have everyone else present. I'll now move on to the notice of disclosure of interest by councillors and officers. Anyone with any declarations of interest, and there being none, I will move on to the confirmation of the previous minutes. So I'll now move to the recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held on the 18th of August 2025 and the closed meeting of council held on the 18th of August 2025, as previously circulated to councillors, be confirmed. May I have a councillor move those? Thank you, Councillor Toll. Seconded, Councillor Phelan. All those in favour? And that being carried, I'll now move on to business arising from those meetings. And there were questions taken on notice at the previous ordinary council meeting on the 18th of August. One was from Councillor Ferrari. We'll deal with the first one and then we'll move to the second one. Councillor Ferrari requested an update on the outstanding customer action request in the Beaufort ward from 2023 as reported in item 11.2.2, customer contact 2024 to 25 report. I will now ask Rachel, please, would you be able to speak to that? Thanks, Ms. Black.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The outstanding customer action request in the Beaufort ward from 2023 related to a stormwater drain a stormwater drain manhole not covered or sealed appropriately in Eucalyptus Court, Beaufort. The request has been investigated and the pit lid has been repaired and sealed. However, the request had not been closed in the car system.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that response. Councillor Ferrari, happy with that. Councillor Toll also had a business arising question. He requested an update on the outstanding customer action request car in the Ercildown ward from 2021 to 22 as reported in the same item as we just discussed. Again, thank you, Ms. Blackwell.
This outstanding customer action request related to motorcycles using School Road to access the state forest behind Waterloo, and a suggestion for additional signage along School Road to be installed to slow traffic. The request has been investigated and the issue with the use of the road by motorbikes and a like has been addressed through Vic Police and has been reported to be no longer of concern. The installation of additional signage to slow traffic on the road is being investigated.
Thank you again. I greatly appreciate those responses. We will now move on to item number 8, which is the public participation. So in this area, members of the community are encouraged to participate in public ordinary council meetings by asking questions or presenting a submission. This can be done by attending in person or by submitting in writing prior to 12 noon on the day of the meeting, online through council's website, by mail or hand delivered. If a question or submission is submitted in writing, this will be read by the chair during public participation, stating the person's name and township. Question time will be held first, followed by public submissions. 30 minutes is allowed for the total period of public participation. Time extensions may be allowed at the discretion of the chair, subject to the provisions of the governance rules. A person may ask a maximum of 2 questions at any one meeting, and the chair will allocate a maximum of 5 minutes to each person who wishes to address council or ask questions. The chair, councillor or council officer to whom a question is referred may immediately answer the question or take the question on notice for answering at a later date. There will be no discussion or debate with public attendees. However, councillors may ask questions of the attendee for clarification. I will now move to 2 questions that we have had submitted prior to noon, and these are from Mr. Chris Johnson of the Beaufort District. Question number 1 we'll deal with first is regarding the Beaufort RV Park. I wrote on behalf of the B4B Committee to Council's Economic Development and Tourism Manager back in February 2025, requesting changes to the conditions on the RV park users. Our request was for a change to the hours allowed for stopover from 24 hours to 72 hours, signage improvements, and also including the advertising of our local tourist radio station, Radio 88 Beaufort. These upgrades were taken on board and yet be approved by the Planning Department. I also believe that advertising local businesses would be an enormous advantage to the economy to our town. Also in the letter was a request for permission for portable above ground fire drums to be allowed, as these units are not permanent. Travellers carry them with them along with their own firewood. As a traveller myself, I see the enormous benefits of these fires. They create an atmosphere that brings people together and the conversations flow. There are travellers that use these for cooking also. Along with the clear signage of the restrictions and use of these units, it would certainly make this free camp more attractive. I would like Council to give this request due consideration and look forward to a favourable outcome. I would like now to hand to our CEO, Mr. Nolan. Please, would you be able to respond to that question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I thank Mr. Johnson for the question. I'm advised by the Manager of Economic Development and Tourism, Mr. Ray Davies, that there has been communication with B4B on this matter. And for the benefit of the councillors and the community, Council has previously committed to enable the townships of Avoca and Beaufort to be RV-friendly towns to encourage more visitation to our towns and grow our economy. This has required a number of initiatives at each of the towns to be eligible to be to the RV-friendly status. One of those initiatives was for the establishment of free overnight camping site, which Council established on Council-owned land at the Audis Lane site in Beaufort. This initiative required Council to follow a planning permit process, giving notice to adjoining landowners and other parties that may be affected by the establishment of an overnight camping. A planning permit was issued in 2017, subject to a number of conditions, taking into account the impact of the activity on surrounding land uses and any issues raised in the submissions, which there were. Changing the allowable camping hours from 24 to 72 hours requires an amendment to the planning permit and consideration of any impacts on those surrounding land uses. A meeting was held with B4B representatives along with council officers, including our planning officers, in July to consider the issue and to brief B4B on the planning permit amendment process. Mr. Davies prepared the relevant application documentation on behalf of B4B which has been lodged with Council's Planning Department, and Council has agreed to meet the standard planning fee of $1,462, which is the cost of an amendment to a planning permit. As part of the proposal, signage at the site is proposed to be amended to include advertising and promotion of Radio FM 88. It is understood that B4B has undertaken to prepare the artwork associated with this signage. Once this artwork has been received, Council's Planning Department will be in a position to give public notice of the amendment. It's understood that the existing sign will also require amending, and Council has agreed to meet the cost, which I understand is approximately $240. In respect of the request for fire pits to be allowed, I understand that B4B has previously been advised that this was generally not supported due to the potential amenity impacts given the proximity to residential use and the fact that this site is an unsupervised site. So Council's ability to be able to respond to any complaints is limited given the hours of the day that the campfires are likely to be lit. I understand that fire pits are catered for at Council's managed caravan park for campers where the fires can be controlled. It is understood that Mr Davies provided an update to B4B meeting in September on this matter, and B4B are encouraged to continue to work with Mr Davies on this initiative.
Thank you, Mr Nolan, and we do want to support our RV park. It's a great asset we have in the community, so we thank Mr Johnson for those questions. Mr Johnson's second question is regarding the walkway in Neil Street, Beaufort. So back in August 2023, some 2+ years ago now, the facade in Neil Street, Beaufort, located at the walkway, was in need of a facelift. I congratulate the Pyrenees Shire Council for the work carried out and using a local contractor for the construction of this work. Quite some years back, for some reason, the signage on this facade indicating parking out back was removed and never replaced. I have suggested on numerous occasions that this blank facade should be utilised with signage to indicate parking that is available at the rear in Willoughby Street. If people were to use this parking area, they would walk through to the main street and pass the projector advertising the area. As a strong advocate for tourism and beautification of our town, my request is that adequate, clear signage be placed on the facade indicating parking at the rear. Again, would I ask Mr Nolan please to respond to that?
Again, I thank Mr Johnson for this question. The works that were undertaken by Council on the veranda facade at the entrance to the walkway in Neil Street was part of Council's asset renewal program and brought forward to coincide with Council's broader facade upgrade program, which has also seen a number of verandas in our town's streets improved by property owners with some financial support from Council. The purpose of this program was to improve the overall amenity of the main streets and to encourage tourism visitation. The walkway veranda previously contained signage advising of parking at the rear of the shops, as Mr Johnson has indicated. The signage was not replaced as part of the veranda renewal works because it was not consistent with Vic Road signage guidelines. Instead, white on blue parking signs has previously been installed in Neil Street and in Willoughby Street and is considered to be providing appropriate parking direction for visitation to Beaufort. Any additional parking and directional signage would need to be consistent with those guidelines.
Thank you, Mr Nolan. So we thank you for that. We thank you for the public participation. We do encourage the public, please, to either send in questions or you can arrive here in person to be able to ask that during that time. But thank you for that, and thank you, Ms Blackwell and Mr Nolan, for those responses this evening. We'll now move on to item 9, which is the councillor activity reports. They are as written in the meeting minutes. May I ask a councillor happy to move those? And thank you, Councillor Phelan, and sorry, Councillor Wardlaw, and then Councillor Phelan. I've got Blackwell and Bramwell still in my head. Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw and Councillor Phelan. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you. And now we move on to item 10, the Assembly of Councillors. May I have the 3 meetings that we've had over the last few weeks, for someone to move that? Councillor Tolling, Councillor Ferrari. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you so much. We're now moving on to the items for decision, and our first one is in the economic development and tourism sector, and that relates to the James Scullin Memorial Park management. And I will ask Ms Blackwell to speak to that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We request that Council considers this report as read for a decision. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider being the appointed land manager of the James Scullin Memorial Park. The James Scullin Memorial Park is situated in the heart of Trawalla, adjacent to the Mount Emu Creek and the Trawalla Primary School. The park currently has an entrance gate and plaque commemorating James Scullin, whose family history is traced back to Trawalla. James Scullin was the 9th Prime Minister of Australia. The park is generally undeveloped, but does have a number of picnic tables and grassed informal recreation areas, and Council has been maintaining the park for many years. In July this year, Council officers received contact from the Beaufort Historical Society proposing a project to recognise the birthplace of James Scullin. As the site is Crown land, Council contacted the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, DECA, to ensure that they supported the project. During this process, it was noted that the management responsibility of the land has never formally been transferred to the Council, and for the project to be considered, they require an ongoing land manager to manage and maintain the reserve. DECA advises that the Council is best placed as land manager of the reserve and has formally requested if Council would consider becoming the appointed land manager. It's therefore the officer's recommendation that Council agrees to become the appointed land manager, writes to DECA to seek formal appointment as the land manager, continues to work with the Beaufort Historical Society to support the project, and continues to maintain the park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Blackwell. First of all, I'll put that recommendation to have someone happy to move it. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari.
Make a recommendation, an additional recommendation be added to those 4, please.
Yes, yes. Will we get a seconder first on that?
He's got to actually be.
Oh, yes, sorry, thank you.
I move that the Council engages with DECA with a request to provide funding to support the ongoing maintenance of James Scullin Park.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Ferrari. And Councillor Phelan, you're happy to second that one? I just saw hands up. Thank you. And now I'll open up to discussion. Would you like to speak to that one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it is important that we do take on the management of this. It's a really significant little piece of real estate, considering the significance of James Scullin and being the 9th Prime Minister of Australia. But considering that it is DECA owned, we do provide resources and time and efforts, which cost money. So it'd be nice if for some way they could come to the party and help us out with that, even if it's a small contribution. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Councillor Perry. Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak?
Sorry, simply to echo exactly what Councillor Ferrari has said. And perhaps they could even backdate some of the country, given that we have, in fact, Council has been maintaining that land and really providing that service to the community without any contribution from DECA. It would be nice if that were recognised. Thank you.
Well said too. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. Any other councillors that would like to speak to that? I will put that motion to the vote. Councillor Ferrari's recommendation, and that is moved. Thank you. Item 11.2.2 is in regard to the road management plan and the public consultation submission review. So again, Ms Blackwell, would you mind speaking to that? Thank you.
Thank you. It's requested that Council considers this report as read for a decision, but the purpose of the report is for Council to consider the adoption of the Road Management Plan 2025 and the submissions received as a result of public consultation. In a report was presented at the April Council meeting, the required steps for reviewing and adopting the Pyrenees Shire Council Road Management Plan were outlined. Council officers undertook public consultation on the Road Management Plan in July and August 2025. A copy of the plan was made available on Council's website, at its Shire offices and resource centres. 2 submissions were received in response to public consultation. 1 submission was internal from a council officer requesting minor amendments and updates to inspection frequencies. And there was 1 public submission received that was generally supportive of the plan, in that it's clear about council's inspection and maintenance regimes. There was also some specific comments made about Homebush Road in Avoca and that it was well maintained and a high priority for council given its high usage by trucks. A quotation of this submission is provided in the council report. Council officers have updated the reviewed road management plan to incorporate the relevant changes as recommended in the submissions, and the report is presented in its final form to council for adoption. The road management plan is an important requirement that provides the community with a stated service level in how Pyrenees Shire will maintain and what is the expected repair time commitments. It's therefore the officer recommendation that council adopt the road management plan, incorporating the minor amendments recommended through the submissions, and publish the adopted road management plan on council's website and make it available at its key customer service locations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Blackwell. May I ask a councillor happy to move a motion to that recommendation? Thank you, councillor Phelan. Seconded. Thank you, councillor Wardlaw. Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak to that? No, you're happy. Happy. Any other councillors? Then we can put that to the vote. Thank you. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you for the work that's gone into that too, Ms Blackwell. We now move into corporate and community services. Item 11.3.1 is the Warborough Recreation Reserve Master Plan and the final community consultation related to that. Thanks, Ms Editing, to speak to that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek council approval to place the draft Warborough Recreation Reserve Master Plan on public exhibition for final community feedback. The Warborough Recreation Reserve is a key asset for the Warborough and district community, serving as the primary location for sport, recreation, social connection and community events. Council has worked with community members, user groups and stakeholders to develop a draft master plan that provides a long-term vision to guide the future development, governance and activation of the reserve. A comprehensive engagement process has been undertaken to inform the plan's development. The plan focused on building participation in community life and leisure opportunities. Placing the draft Warborough Recreation Reserve Master Plan on public exhibition is a critical step in ensuring the final plan is informed by community voice and reflects shared priorities. It's therefore the officer recommendation that Council 1 endorses the draft Warborough Recreation Reserve Master Plan to be placed on public exhibition for a period of 4 weeks, as presented at Attachment 1, and 2, notes the community engagement report as presented at Attachment 2 for awareness of community feedback that has guided the development of the draft master plan.
Thank you, Ms Edity. May I have a councillor willing to move that one? Councillor Toll, seconded councillor Ferrari. Councillor Toll, would you like to speak to that? No, you're happy? Thank you. And Mr Councillor Ferrari, any other councillors? I'd just like to again say thank you to all the consultation that's happened, the huge amount of work that's gone in from the Warborough community to also to be able to create a fantastic master plan for a great space in our Shire. So I'll now put that motion to the vote. All those in favour, and that's carried. Item 11.3.2 is in relation to a special meeting of council that will happen in September this month, 2025. And thank you, Ms Edity, again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is for council to schedule a special meeting of council to adopt in principle the 24-25 financial and performance statement. The 24-25 financial and performance statement is required to be adopted in principle by 30 September 2025 to enable other legislative reporting and certification of the reports by the 31st of October. Therefore, the officer recommendation is that council holds a special meeting of council virtually at 6 p.m. on Monday the 29th of September 2025 to adopt in principle the 24-25 financial and performance statements.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Seconded, Councillor Toll. No need to speak to that. Anyone did want to? All those in favour? And we'll be meeting then to approve those statements. Item 11.3.3 is in regards to an expression of interest for 226 High Street, Avoca. Thank you again, Ms. Editing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is for council to support officers in undertaking a public expression of interest for the licensing of the property located and known as 226 High Street, Avoca, to enable a transparent process that provides opportunities for our broader community that may be interested in utilising the land at 226 High Street, Avoca. It is proposed to undertake a public expression of interest for the utilisation of the land, which will seek details from interested parties on proposed use of the land, actions they will undertake to ensure that the land is suitable for such use, proposed licence fees, and must be able to demonstrate appropriate insurance is in place for the proposed use. It should be noted that council will require access throughout the year to undertake surveying work associated with future land development. The officer recommendation is that Council 1 approves officers to undertake a public expression of interest process for the utilisation of the land located and known as 226 High Street, Avoca, and 2, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to review and decide on the expression of interest received and enter into a licence over the property located and known as 226 High Street, Avoca.
Thanks, Ms. Editing. And I will now open that up for a motion from a councillor. Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Seconded, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Wardlaw, would you like to speak to that at all? Not really? No? Same? No? Gosh, this is going to be a quick meeting. No, yeah, gosh. All those in favour then, thank you. And that's moved. We're up to item 11.3.4, and that's the Council Plan 2025 to 2029 draft initiatives. Thank you again, Ms. Editing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present the draft initiatives that underpin the previously adopted Council Plan 2025 to 2029. The draft initiatives outlined within the attached document define the work that will be undertaken to support the strategic direction as defined within the Council Plan 2025 to 2029. The draft initiatives enable the activation of the Council Plan and will form the basis of quarterly reporting to Council and our community to demonstrate our progress towards achieving the objectives of the Council Plan. The draft initiatives have been developed in consideration of the Council Vision, Council Plan, and in consultation with relevant operational teams, whilst ensuring that our councillors support the direction officers will take with the strategic work over their elected term. To ensure that our community support the developed initiatives, officers will seek consultation via a survey which will seek to understand the level of support to the document, whilst also providing the opportunity for more specific feedback. The survey link will be made available via Council's communication channels, including our website, social media and printed media. On that basis, the recommendation is that Council 1 gives public notice seeking submissions on the draft initiatives that underpin the delivery of our Council Plan 2025 to 2029. 2, written public submissions will be accepted for 28 days ending 9 a.m. Wednesday, 15th October 2025. 3, gives public notice that any person who wishes to be heard in support of a written submission provided to Council should indicate on the written submission that they wish to appear before the scheduled Council meeting on Monday the 20th of October 2025 to verbally present their submission, either personally or via a person acting on their behalf at the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Editing. May I ask a councillor to move a motion to that recommendation? Any takers? Thank you, Councillor Phelan. Seconded, Councillor Ferrari. Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I'd just like to acknowledge the work of Ms. Ertedy in pulling together all of the initiatives and really helping to streamline what were a very large number of frameworks and plans, and you've done a really great job pulling that together. So thanks. I know it's been lots of work, and of course councillors have contributed significantly as well, but I think it's to where we want it to be. So thanks.
Well said, councillor Phelan. Councillor Ferrari, would you like to speak to
I
that?
support what councillor Phelan's mentioned, thanks.
Thank you. Any other councillors? It has been a process and it's a huge process. And again, we do thank you, Ms Edity, because we're very happy with where it's going and we're incredibly keen to put it in place and implement all the initiatives that are connected to that plan. But again, we do ask again that, and now we do put it on public notice, that we'd love to receive any submissions. This council plan is enacting what the wishes are of our community, and we want to make sure that we are addressing those. So thank you, and all those that have already that have in the past, but also will help contribute to that this time. I'll now put that to the vote. All those in favour, and that's carried. Thank you. Item 11.3.5 is in relation to the 25-26 carryover projects. Again, thank you, Ms Edity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report sets out those items of income and expenditure that are required to be carried forward to the 25-26 budget from the previous financial year due to grants being received in advance and/or project activity spanning multiple financial years or projects remaining unfinished at the 30th of June 2025. Carryover projects can relate to untied grants received during 24-25 financial year that relate to the 25-26 financial year. And under the current accounting standards, local government is required to recognise untied grants when received rather than the year that the income relates to. As such, it is required that funds that meet these criteria are carried forward to the current financial year. Projects that continue to be works in progress as at the 30th of June 2025 and require funding to be carried forward to 25-26 to complete these works. Carryover funds requested are supported by surplus funds in the 24-25 budget, and a reconciliation as at the 30th of June 2025 was carried out to ensure that the list of carryovers is supported by surplus funds and the financial position of council remains within the parameters of the 10-year financial plan. Therefore, it's the officer's recommendation that council approves the list of carryovers presented to council to be added to the 25-26 financial year program, totalling $7,794,954 and detailed below.
Thank you, Ms Edity. And you can see that itemised on page 24 there of the agenda. I will now ask a councillor happy to move a motion to that recommendation. Thank you, councillor Ferrari. I'll go and councillor Phelan seconding that. Councillor Ferrari, any questions or comments? Any other councillors? No, I think that's self-explanatory. So we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 11.3.6 is a 2025-29 Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan. And again, thank you, Ms Editor. You're working hard tonight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report seeks adoption of the draft municipal plan, Public Health and Wellbeing Plan 2025 to 2029. The Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008 requires that council develop a municipal public health and wellbeing plan within 12 months of a council election. The plan must be consistent with the council plan and be reviewed and evaluated both annually and at the end of the 4-year period. The council resolved at a special meeting of council on the 28th of April 2025 to place the draft Municipal Health and Wellbeing Plan 25 to 29 on public exhibition and seek community feedback. Council formally considered submissions to the integrated planning documents, including the council plan and health plan, at their ordinary meeting on the 16th of June 2025. Following further refinement of the draft Municipal Health and Wellbeing Plan, it is now presented for final council consideration. Should the draft plan be supported, a copy of the adopted plan will be submitted to the Victorian Department of Health in accordance with statutory obligations. It is therefore the officer's recommendation that council, having reviewed submissions and undertaken minor refinements, adopts the updated Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan 2025 to 2029 as attached to the report.
Thank you again, Ms Edity. May I ask the councillor to move a motion to that recommendation? Any takers? Thank you. Thank you. So we've got Miss Wardlaw, Councillor Wardlaw and Councillor Ferrari. And would you like to speak to that? Councillor Wardlaw, would you like to speak to it? Any other councillors? Can I just thank Adam and his team, and again, thank you to all of you out there that put forward submissions. Again, it really helps us to be able to meet your needs, and as we will be, coming back to this quarterly, it's a very important document to continue directing our works within council. So with that in mind, all those in favour, and that's carried. Item 11.3.7 is the Victorian Local Government's Women's Charter, and you get a rest now, Ms. Editor. I'm over to the CEO, Mr. Nolan, to report on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek Council's agreement to sign up to the Victorian Local Government Women's Charter. And there's a report before you. The background to this is that the Pyrenees Shire Council has publicly committed to supporting gender equality and gender equity in the form of its commitment to the Gender Equality Action Plan, which is called the GEAP, and in particular the objectives that relate to increasing participation of women in council elections and support leadership development for women, gender diverse staff and staff with diverse backgrounds. In the GEAP, Council has articulated a vision to be an employer of choice for gender equality, and in achieving that vision to build a more inclusive workplace for all genders. In the past, Council has committed to supporting the Grampians Core Communities of Respect and Equality Alliance, their initial 2016 strategy, and over the years, Council officers have worked with other organisations in the ongoing pursuit of gender equality and preventing violence against women, in particular in the Act at Work program in partnership with Women's Health Grampians. Pyrenees Shire Council recognises the importance of providing leadership in advancing gender equality at its local level in an effort to contribute to this global responsibility. Madam Mayor, I'm not going to read the rest of the report, but I think you get from the gist of that introduction that this is a priority issue for Council and an opportunity for Council to show leadership. And what's furthermore, being able to support this initiative and the Victorian Local Government Women's Charter, there is an opportunity for Council to extend that leadership. The issue of gender equality remains of significant importance, reflecting the introduction of Gender Equality Act 2020 and the increased mandatory and expected actions to promote gender equality on behalf of Council. The signing of the Victorian Local Government Women's Charter demonstrates a long-term commitment to gender equality and diversity and to increasing women's involvement in public and civic life. And the recommendation, councillors, is that Council expresses its support and recognition of the need for increased women's participation in key decision-making forums in the community and in democratic governance, and the support of following principles contained within the Victorian Local Government's Women's Charter. A, in respect of gender equality, the women and men have an equal right to be representatives in local government, committees and decision-making positions. B, diversity. The inclusion of different experiences and perspectives in local government and community decision-making strengthens local democratic governance and helps build cohesive communities. Council and communities encourage and welcome the participation of all women. And C, active citizenship. Local governments will work with the community to increase the number of participation of women in public life so that decision-making more clearly represents and reflects the interests and demographics of the community. And secondly, that Council authorises the Chief Executive to confirm this commitment by signing up to the Victorian Local Government Women's Charter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. May I ask Councillor to move a motion to that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Toll. Seconded, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Toll, would you like to speak to that? Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak to that?
Oops, if I can turn that on. Thank you. Really great to see Council's support for the representation of women through all levels of management and decision-making positions in Council. And of course, we've got 3 female councillors. on board, which is great. But it always mildly amuses me that we're women, 50% of the population are part of the diversity stats. So anyway, good to know that we are supporting representation of women, and even though we have strong representation here, that we need to ensure that that's carried forward into the future. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. Any other councillors? Yes, thank you, Councillor Ferrari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to say, not only do we subscribe to this, but we put it in practice, which we have. We've got 3 fantastic female councillors, and it works really, really well. I can say that openly and honestly. And as long as we stick to the principles around that, the honesty, respect and the equality, I'm sure we're going to continue to have a really, really healthy council. So I think we're a really good example that not only do we speak about it, we put it in practice, and it's working very, very well. So thank you.
Thank you. Well said, Councillor Ferrari too. Other councillors that would like to speak? Councillor Wardle, Councillor Tell. Again, I echo that as well, and I think we do live it and practice it, and that's what these charters should enact, is that it actually happens in practice. And so it does, and even just recently, just last week, Jim and I were able to meet up with Women's Grampians Health, and there's some incredibly great stuff happening. We still need to be very stringent in keeping that force acting in all areas of management and life and across our all businesses, but particularly in local government when we're representing our community. So again, it's an absolute honour to be on this council with 2 other incredible women and men who support that too. So thank you to everyone that does practice that. So we'll put that into the vote. All those in favour, and that's carried. Thank you. Item 11.3.8 is a licence agreement with the Beaufort Blue Light Motorcycle Club Incorporated. And thank you again. You're back on deck. Thanks, Ms. Edity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider granting a 10-year licence agreement to the Beaufort Blue Light Motorcycle Club Incorporated for the use of the land located at 252 Beaufort Lexton Road, Beaufort. Established in 2010, the Beaufort Blue Light Motorcycle Club is a volunteer-run initiative in partnership with Victoria Police and Emergency Services. The club provides a safe, supervised environment for recreational motorcycle riding for young people under the age of 18. The club holds events on the last Sunday of each month, with each event registered through Motorcycling Victoria and led by members of Victoria Police, ensuring a strong focus on both safety and community engagement. Recent events held in June and August saw 98 and 50 riders in attendance, respectively. Rider ages and postcodes for these events are detailed in the tables within the report. Council is the committee of management for the site that the club operates from, and in accordance with section 1154 of the Local Government Act 2020 requires that if any lease licence is subject to the above, which is 10-year licence or more, and it was not included within the budget, council must undertake a community engagement process in accordance with their community engagement policy before entering into the lease or licence. Supporting the 10-year licence agreement with the Beaufort Blue Light Motorcycle Club Inc. aligns well with the Council Plan 25-29 strategic priorities, fostering community-centric values and supporting volunteers and community events. It is therefore the officer's recommendation that Council 1 approves any required public notice advertising in regard to the Local Government Act and Council's community engagement policy as deemed appropriate to the proposed renegotiated sublease. And 2, should no objections be received during the public notice advertising period, endorse the Chief Executive Officer to proceed in the granting of the licence to the Beaufort Blue Light Motorcycle Club Inc. for a period of 10 years.
Thanks, Ms. Edity. May I ask the councillor to move a motion? Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Seconded, Councillor Toll. I'll go. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Would you like to speak to it?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just note that the numbers that turn up to ride is significant. It's probably one of the bigger events and most consistent events we have around Beaufort for junior people, besides football when the football's active, of course. But it's a really, really great little venue there. And I also note that We have people come from Nathalia, Werribee, Taylors Lake, Geelong, Ocean Grove and suburban Melbourne to come here and ride at Beaufort. So not only does that bring the kids here and provides a venue for them, it also brings that that economic support to the town and probably wider. So it's a really, really good venue out there, and I'm happy to support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Well said. Councillor Toll, would you like to speak to that? Any other councillors? Just to second that, having attended quite a few of those, it is incredible. And even the range of people that come and the great community vibe that's there. The volunteers do such a great job. They have to prepare the ground, and there's been a couple of setbacks, but they didn't let anything stop them from running. It's a really fantastic event and gives those kids that have different interests and an opportunity to be part of something bigger and greater. And in fact, there's even been like a state finalist in that, one of the kids that came there and has ridden there, so you never know where he might end up and might make our little place a bit more famous. So it is incredible. So thank you to all those involved, and great motion there. So with that in mind, I'll put that motion to the vote. All those in favour, and that's carried. Thank you so much. We now move to item 11.3.9, and that's the Kathleen Street Avoca, to adopt a road name for that. Thank you, Ms. Edity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to finalise the naming process for an unnamed road in Avoca between Homebush Road and Station Street to Kathleen Street. At the ordinary meeting of Council on the 21st of July 2025, Council resolved to commence the process for the naming of the unnamed road. 2 submissions were received, one in support of the name Kathleen, the other a submission for use the name of Romy after a local family. A request for further information was issued to the applicant seeking specific information, including family names and notable contributions made to the community, with no further response received. To complete the naming process, a name needs to be formally adopted by Council. It is therefore the officer's recommendation that Council 1 adopts the name Kathleen Street, which has historical ties to the area, and 2, forwards a report to the Register of Geographic Names for consideration of the name Kathleen Street.
Thank you, Ms. Edity. May I ask Councillor to move a motion to that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Seconded, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Wardlaw, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to note that we obviously did take into consideration the suggested other names, and knowing that we're actually looking to name 2 streets tonight, and them both being sisters that served in World War I as nurses, I just think it's a really great opportunity to respect both of them, in a really positive way. So yeah, I just hope that everyone else understands the relevance of the names that we've chosen. So.
Yeah, well said, Councillor Wardlaw. Councillor Phelan, would you like to say anything? Any other councillors? I think Councillor Wardlaw said that well. It is, really apt that they're called that, and we can celebrate those women even more greatly. All those in favour? And that's carried. That road is named. We're now moving on to 11.3.10, which is another road naming, Rosemary Way, Avoca. Thank you, Ms. Edity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to finalise the naming process for an unnamed road in Avoca between Davey Street and Camp Street to Rosemary Way. At the ordinary meeting of Council on the 21st of July 2025, Council resolved to commence the process for the naming of the unnamed road. 1 submission was received proposing the use of a currently adjoining property owner's surname. A request for further information was issued to the applicant seeking specific information, such as a biography with any notable contributions made to the community and/or armed forces, with no further response received. To complete the naming process, a name needs to be formally adopted by Council, and it's therefore the officer recommendation that Council 1 adopts the name Rosemary Way, which has historical ties to the area, and 2, forwards a report to the Register of Geographic Names for consideration of the name Rosemary Way.
Thanks, Ms. Edity. May I ask a councillor to move a motion to that recommendation? Thank you again. Councillor Wardlaw, seconded Councillor Toll. Councillor Wardlaw, happy with that. Other councillors, I think we are all happy, and similarly to the other one, Incredible Women, that we're very happy to name a road after. So I'll put that motion to the vote, and all those, that's carried. Now item 11.4.1 is in regards to the CEO employment and remuneration policy. Thank you, Mr. Nolan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report reflects the fact that the current policy requires review. That review has been undertaken, and there's a recommendation there that council adopts the revised document with a minor amendment to incorporate the inclusion of the CEO employment contract as an associate document referenced in section 7, and undertakes further review following the next CEO performance review process if required.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. May I ask a councillor to move a motion to that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Toll. Seconded, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Toll, would you like to speak to that at all? Or no, sort of process, isn't it? We've re-looked at that policy, and with that minor adjustment, we're happy with that. So all those in favour, maybe move that. Thank you. We now move on to councillor reports and general business. I'm looking at Councillor Phelan, she can be my first victim tonight. Thank you so much. Love to hear what's happening up in the northern part of the shop.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. So in addition to all of the usual business of council, I had the great joy of attending one of several Ballarat Biennale events that are held in the Moonabel wineries, or should I say Pyrenees wineries, because they're not all Moonabel, but went to the launch of The Hidden at beautiful Biggie Billa Winery, and I strongly encourage everyone, if you have a chance, to go and see that exhibition. Essentially, it's a photographic exhibition of tribal peoples, and called The Hidden because they are so hidden from society, and they've been beautifully captured through photography. But also looking at these photos, you realise that when these people, leave this earth, that culture will die with them as well. So just really powerful exhibition. Next on my list is also Ballarat Biennale at beautiful Dalwhinnie Winery, Tautani Winery, and Blue Pyrenees. So that's a good weekend for everyone to get up to the northern part of the Shire. I did also, I'll just mention this, I got a very lovely invitation from some residents out at Glen Logie. They're big merino sheep farmers, and also very active in the CFA, and they've got a huge acreage out there, huge farming operation. But it was so wonderful and informative for me, as everyone knows, coming from a kind of city background, to hear about how they manage their sheep, and just the challenges when they lose sheep because they're so finely bred that they can't just go and replace them, through stockyard sales, and hearing a lot of the challenges they had with the fires. So I think going out and seeing some of those huge farming operations for somebody like me was really beneficial, and lots of new lingo as well. I learned what weathered for the first time. So yeah, I really thank them for that invitation.
That's amazing then, gosh.
Yeah,
and thank you for your time. Gosh, I'm sure they were so appreciative of that too. Thank you, Councillor Bill. Councillor Woodward, do you mind going next?
As always, there's plenty on, everywhere, up at Moonabel, Beaufort, footy finals. How did everyone go with the footy finals? Won't go look at the boys. They don't want to talk about that. So a few things I've done. I attended the Avoca Rec Reserve meeting, just discussing their facilities moving forward after our plans with the flood mitigation and things, and just seeing what direction they're looking and how they're coping with things. But hopefully we don't get any floods and we don't have to worry about it. Also some WRL information sessions, sort of where more relevant information was provided to the community regarding the Western Renewables link and how they can, how they can put in their complaints, or not complaint, what they would like to see moving forward, because, they all matter too. It's not just about the link itself. the people along the way are very important. As a group, we went and visited the old Beaufort School to see what the possibilities of the site could be. And it's really quite remarkable that, you know, there's so much potential there. I don't even know where to begin with it. That's how much potential there is. You could see it going in so many different ways. So all of those ideas are on the table, and at Shire we're doing what we can to help with that process. I also had a meeting with Silk Forest discussing the environment in regards to the Pyrenees Shire, and it was actually good because we spoke about the trees along the Western Renewables Link as well, and that's sort of been one of my concerns. So it's just on our mind. We're thinking about all these things. And then lastly, I just wanted to congratulate the Committee of Advance Avoca with their recent release of professionally produced videos portraying the welcoming nature of Avoca and District for visitors to the Shire. You can see them on Facebook or Instagram. Advance Avoca sought funding to do this. They built a website and they also did these videos, and I've just had some really positive feedback from people further out in the Shire, people with accommodation, and it's just good that, you know, they're seeing these things, they're sharing these things, and their comments were they were so professionally done. It was just fantastic. So to those that did the work, I thank you for that.
We all do thank you. They are incredible. So they really do just absolutely celebrate the Avoca region. So on behalf of everyone, thank you, Advance Avoca. I'll move over to Councillor Toll. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, as mentioned by the ladies, been to various AGMs, and they're always fascinating to go to because you see all the different communities and all the hard work they do, and they've all got the same problem with volunteers and maintenance and no money and whatever. But it was encouraging to see Lexington recently with they embraced the pub shutting down and took over with the whole expanded thing with the hub pub. They turned over a good amount of money and they made it a very viable option for keeping the community together, which was encouraging. The other one too that I'd like to mention is the roads are just an absolute disgrace. You know, you've seen the paper the other day, there's 7 cars on the side of the Trawalla Road, near Trawalla on the highway. Something's got to happen before more people get killed. Been to plenty of WRL sessions along the way, and a little bit disappointing that there weren't as many people turned out. The council officers put in a lot of effort to get it all together, and there weren't that many of the public turning up, which was a little bit disappointing, but you know, everyone's busy and whatever at the moment. The BPS school site visit was fantastic. What a great little asset we've got up there. As I said to Jim the other day, we've got to secure the deal before we let out what we want to do with it, I think, and lock that away as quickly as we can. I've been talking with Joe McCracken and Bev MacArthur a fair bit about the ESVF levy. That's, you know, coming around quickly again, where the rate notices will go. So we've got to keep advocating, pushing that. Footy finals are finished, so there's plenty of people in the community now that have got plenty of time on their hands, and congratulate Beaufort and the under-13 girls winning the netball, and of course Warburg won the under-15 girls netball, which was terrific. But it was good to see that Skipton had a win over this side of the Central Highlands League. We took a couple of trophies home, and Learmonth also over this side of Ballarat did really well in the under-18. So it's encouraging that, you know, footy finals are coming around. I'm sure Geelong will do well. The smell of cut grass always equals footy finals. So looking forward to those. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Toll. And Councillor Ferrari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The usual things, some council briefings, a few constituent inquiries, personal and phone ones. They're always pretty much ongoing. You never know what you're going to get when you answer the phone or open the door. So, but anyway, it's good. It's good that they can speak to us and air their concerns, and we hope we can get them sorted. Attended the official opening of the Beaufort Lakeside Caravan Park and the commencement of the regional worker in Burke Street, which is really, really good. And I deliberately drive down Burke Street every time I come into town. If I come in off the highway and I have a look, and things are progressing up there. So it's a little bit difficult, it's a bit wet, but things are progressing up there. So it's really nice to see something different happen nearly every time I come in. It was really good to go to the Old Beaufort Primary School and have the other councillors come and view that, and we actually got to see inside the facility. So, you know, you can look and walk around the outside, but to see inside was really good. And I was really pleasantly surprised at how good a condition I felt that those, and the stability of the inside of that, and solid that those foundations and that appear to be. Yes, there's some damage that's been caused by vandals, but essentially that building, that structure, the main ones are seem to be very, very solid, and it was pleasing, and it was really good. I think it was good for the councillors to get, not only do we talk about it, but to get that visual perspective, and especially to see inside, just to see what are we really talking about. So that was really worthwhile. Also attended the Beaufort Day Out, Thriving Together in Tough Times, and I just thought that was just a fantastic day. It just ran really smoothly. It was an excellent event, and I must congratulate again the organisers of the day. They just done a fantastic job in pulling it all together. I think they got the balance of things right. They had a panel of speakers who were great, including our mayor.
Thank you.
And it was just an opportunity for people to get together and socialise. And look, we all know, and I mentioned it in my media this week, about, you know, loneliness, isolation, linked with other factors, can have a really detrimental effect on individuals and even families. So the importance of these days just can't be underestimated. And just to finish up, congratulations to the Waubra under-15 girls for their win in the grand final. It's fantastic. It's really good to get one score in the board like we did with our under-13s, and congratulations to our Beaufort under-13 netballers on their grand final win. And congratulations to Skipton Football Club winning the grand final. They've been toiling away, doing pretty well, but they've been hard at it all year. And my understanding is it's their first win in the Central Highlands since they came into the league. So it's really, really special for them. So congratulations, lads and girls, and enjoy the festivities while it still lasts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Ferrari. Second that too, was incredibly a great vibe at the finals, and just really lovely this side of the Central Highlands, being able to take away a lot of those wins. Again, I've been to just about all those events that have been spoken about. A few extra ones there were the Yarrawonga Rural Councils Forum, which the CEO and I were able to attend again. Probably the most pivotal thing was looking at the impact of ESVF, but also housing opportunities, and particularly for regional areas. We've also, just one thing I will highlight, the Wimmera, Southern Wimmera and North East Pyrenees water supply project briefing that we had on the 5th of August. Really exciting space there, and it's still definitely moving forward in a really great way. So very hopeful to be able to get that happening to support all those ag industries that will be able to utilise that. Again, we've spoken about the caravan park opening. That was brilliant, and the regional worker accommodation, and it's really pleasing to see how quickly that is being built at the moment. The WRL consultation, it was a little bit disappointing at Lexington, but I do want to just counteract that, because amphitheatre, where the Councillor Wardler and Councillor Phelan were at, was absolutely packed. So thank you so much. And I feel a bit of a precursor to Lexington was that there was a meeting prior to that by the actual proponents of the project. So that may have impacted that. But thank you to the whole team, Rachel. You and your team just did an incredible job, and just that information and the ease of access of understanding some of that information, because we know how much work you had to go through to process all that, and then to be able to give it to us in information that we can understand. That is second to none. And I know you've worked beyond your work hours to do that. So huge thank you from everyone in the public, because it's been such an important process, and you've got so much work ahead of you. So huge thanks in advance. Yeah, you said that with you're smiling about it, so it's good at the moment, but thank you again so much, Rachel. The Beaufort Day Out again, I won't reiterate on that, but just incredibly powerful, and all the other events that have happened and will continue because we know things don't stop here. Mental health and support for all our community, but particularly our farmers, is huge at this time. I also attended the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Service. That was incredible. It's one of those ones that's not quite as significant or on people's calendars as Anzac Day, Remembrance Day, but is so significant. We had so many people part of that, the Vietnam War, and also working towards peace since then, and to be able to come together with other councillors, and it is incredible. And our veterans, they are incredible people, and their stories that they still tell, and their camaraderie is absolutely exceptional in a time when we can be becoming divisive in our community. We can look to others who have come together to protect the peace that we're so fortunate to live. The Old Beaufort Primary School, looking forward to the drop-in session tomorrow, and there's a lot of space working there, but it's really exciting to be able to progress forward with that. And now that tonight, of course, that we've adopted that master plan, very exciting. I also attended the launch of Scarred with Councillor Phelan. And again, how poignant, an amazing community project that was implemented by community, that utilised grant opportunities, and Hugh Carroll was just exceptional, and the other people that helped him, the beautiful Pat Smith, who's an icon of Beaufort, was part of the editing process. Everyone that was part of that to make that happen. It's an incredible publication, not just the fact that it's an incredible publication, but the legacy that has in us moving forward and getting better to responding. We know that we're going to have these incidents occur, but if we can protect our community, both physically, but also financially and especially mentally, we can get better at dealing with these scenarios. So just incredible. And I know there's a thank you lunch coming up this weekend too. Just a few other things. I also attended the Bashers International Women's Week morning tea the week before last. Again, an incredible community event, but so poignant. One thing I'd like to pull from that, a lady who's Emma Kate McGrath's mum spoke about losing her to meningococcal B. Now, this is a condition, this is something that Victoria doesn't inoculate against, but other states do. And they've been trying to advocate to the state government to be able to get this put onto the immunisation program. And this is a space where we will be able to help and advocate for that. So the Emma Kate Foundation, Bashers are very keen to move in that area, and I think it's something, as a mother of 8, I know I do get my children inoculated against that disease, but it is costly to be able to do that, and it is out of the reach of many people. So that's something we're definitely going to look at. But that morning tea also indicated the incredible necessity to get the information out there and to get testing procedures and opportunities to our rural women in particular, because looking at the incidence of breast cancer and bowel cancer and their access to health services is incredibly important, and we know we need to keep working with them. That last Friday week back too, I had the wonderful opportunity to run, but also attend the Beaufort Debutante Ball. And I just want to highlight just what incredible young people we have in our community. It was the best community event. We had so many people involved helping out with that, but the young people themselves, these are year 10 and 11 students from our only high school that we have in the Shire, that's Beaufort Secondary College. They just conducted themselves with absolute incredible deportment, and they were just so respectful of each other and just proud of their achievements, and we were able to celebrate them. And I think when we get opportunities to do that, our young people are incredible. It was just incredible. I also then last week attended a bit of a different youth social event, and that was the Beaufort Girl Guides dance. And gosh, there were some moves. Some of those kids were cracking on the dance floor, but Girl Guides, just to highlight, they do an incredible amount of work in the community that sometimes can go unnoticed, but is building our leaders for the future and building them in a really strong way. I did give a talk that same week to the Ballarat Liberal Ladies group, who wanted to know more about what we're doing in that ESVF space, and really keen to see that advocacy. And it was mentioned tonight, but I feel that's an area we really need to push in advocacy for, and Mr. Nolan and I will be going down to state government to really continue to keep the pressure on that. We know there's been some more rallies, but we need to continue to highlight to our politicians the impact that it will have, particularly next year when there's decisions about whether it will stay the way it is or will go back to what it's being suggested to be. So we definitely public, we just want you to know we are definitely still advocating strongly in that space. The only other thing, just to highlight, the community grants are opening up. So please, if you're part of a community group, jump online or ring the council to find out more information about that. We can also help you in filling out those, the applications as well. The only other thing, we've also got MAV State Council coming up in a couple of weeks, and the annual conference. So that's an opportunity where we can vote towards and put towards actions that go direct to government through the MAV. So keep an eye out for that. Although it is I have the agenda here, so it'll be quite a lengthy meeting, but very important one as well. Us councillors are also engaging in training opportunities over the next few weeks in order to better hone in our craft as councillors. So please know that we're always working to try to serve you all better. So just a final one, I guess, enjoy this beautiful spring weather. We're finally seeing some beautiful sunshine and grass out there. So I hope that's a relief for many of the farmers. But for everyone, do enjoy, and all those of you with school children, that you enjoy the holidays that are coming up. So thank you very much. And on that note, I will ask for a councillor to move us into closed council. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. Seconded, Councillor Ferrari, and all those in favour. And we thank you. Definitely stop